What's up, everybody? This is Falcons Daily on a Falcons Friday. I am CG Craig Green, your host, and I appreciate y'all checking us out here on YouTube and anywhere else you can see or see my face or hear my voice. So thanks again for checking us out right now. Let's chop it up here and talk about training camp. We're right in the middle of it. It got started officially on Thursday. So yesterday was the Falcons' first practice. Things were going pretty good. A couple of news and notes coming out of there. Some of that stuff we'll go over here during the middle of today's episode. But first news item we want to talk about is some of the Falcons coming back from injury. You had Braylon Trice coming back from his torn ACL. Kyle Pitts is back as well on the field after his foot injury. DeMarco Hellams and Caleb McGarry both back after knee injuries. And, they're going to need these guys to be healthy this season if the Falcons are going to be able to do anything that they want to set out to do this year. You're going to have all of your depth, your first and your second stringers, and some of your thirds as well, ready to go at a moment's notice. We'll start with Braylon Trice. Again, didn't see the field last year at all, basically as a rookie. Got injured in the preseason last year, so didn't really get to see much of him. Didn't get to see any of him at all last year. So they're going to depend on Braylon Trice to be able to come off the edge and provide the Falcons some much needed pass rush. Kyle Pitts is going to be a key player for the Falcons this year for more reason than one. And one of those reasons actually popped up today, I think. So that's something that we can talk about here in a little while. But if Pitts can stay healthy, sky's the limit for him. Again, it's year 5. He's got everything in the world to prove and everything in the world to lose as well. DeMarco Hellams, hopefully he can keep himself on the field this year. Again, he was a willing thumper the first year he was on the Falcons. Last year got hurt, so he got robbed of his second season. So we'll see how things pan out for DeMarco Hellams this year, but he's got to have, good practices, and, so far so good. No real news about him coming out of Thursday's practice. And Caleb McGarry, again, he's going to be very, very important. I think he's probably the most important player of the 4 on the list. The reason why is, yes, he's the right tackle, but remember now, Caleb McGarry is the blind side tackle for our left-handed quarterback, Michael Penix. Remember last year, or really when you have the right-handed quarterback, for those of you who don't know, the right-handed quarterback has the blind side protected by the left tackle, and it's flipped, of course, for a left-handed quarterback like Penix, who's turned his body and he's throwing left-handed, so he's got to watch his blind side coming from the right. So that would be Caleb McGarry's side. And for those who've, also paid attention, watched any kind of film, studied any kind of next generation stats, Caleb McGarry's weakness in his protection is pass protection. So he struggled against, one-on-one matchup with some of the elite pass rushers and some guys who weren't elite as well. Much better run stuffer than a pass blocker. But again, we'll see how the Falcons, we'll see how they want to address that this year. Will they try to get the ball out of Penix's hands quicker? Will they, again, it's gonna, that's questions that need to be answered. We'll see those things play out, of course. But again, the screen game is one way. Quick counts, things like that. Maybe put a tight end over there with McGarry. All kinds of things can be done there to protect his blind side. So, again, we're going to need him to stay healthy. Again, don't want to put Storm Norton in that spot or Jack Nelson in that spot if you don't have to. So, again, of the 4, I really feel like Caleb McGarry, this year for him is a super important year, because without McGarry, I think our offense really won't run the way it needs to. And speaking of our offense running and doing things, Kirk Cousins did not speak at camp, but Raheem Morris did early on, and he was asked about the Kirk Cousins saga and all the things that went down on the Netflix show Quarterback. where he was, kind of airing some grievances to some of his co-hosts on there, and how concerned are the Falcons? How concerned are you with some of the things that you've seen and heard from Kirk Cousins? If you watched the Netflix show, you saw some of the things that he said he was blindsided by. The Falcons picking Michael Penix, and, had he known, he may have stayed in Minnesota, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, hindsight being 2020, that's something that he admitted, but again, any kind of concern whatsoever with Kirk Cousins at camp, I don't think so. Again, he's there. It's been 100% attendance. That's what Raheem said. Raheem Morris. Every person was there today. So no concern on that front. And then really no concern about him being any kind of distraction, because Raheem was asked about Kirk Cousins and the Netflix show, and this is what Raheem had to say about that. He had to say everything that had happened on the show was like, oh, we addressed that while it was happening. Pretty quick, simple, and effective from the head ball coach, Raheem Morris. Again, so everything was handled in-house, as it was happening, so there was no surprises on his end. He was well aware of how Kirk was feeling, because there was things that they, talked about openly. So again, the Falcons, got out in front of it, and I guess that's part of, Raheem talking about identifying problems, fixing them quicker. So that was, one problem. It seems like they've tried to nip it in the bud and keep, everybody as happy as they possibly can be. Of course, Kirk has made it known he wants to be a starter in the league. He believes he is a starter in the league, and I believe he's a starter in the league as well. But the Falcons are moving on to Michael Penix. This is part of their plan, and they're hoping that he can be the guy that they were hoping Desmond Ridder would be, 2.5 years ago. But unfortunately, that didn't work out for the Falcons either. Darnell Mooney today took a spill at practice and was shaken up, did not return to practice. This was after he was diving for a football to make a catch from a pass from Mike Penix. He didn't catch the ball. It was a pass interference ruled on the play by the referees on site, but after that he didn't come back to practice. So there was no update so far on his situation that we know of. But in his absence, who is going to be the players that will need to step up? And we're going right back to our friend KP. In his absence, not in terms of just a wide receiver, but in terms of pass catchers and skill players who may need to do a little more. Kyle Pitts, today he got a lot of targets from Mike Penix in practice. Was some of that with Mooney on the field? Was that by design with Mooney on the field? Was some of that after Mooney got hurt? Of course, only the Falcons really know the game plan on that. But, in his absence, you're going to have to find some guys, who can get out there and catch the football. You've got plenty of players on the thing. Of course, first of which you're going to think Ray McLeod. Of course, you're going to also think about Jamal Agnew as well. Those are some of the top candidates. Kadero Hodge, obviously. Chris Blair's been around. This is his second season, so he's no longer a rookie anymore. But also, what about Nick Nash? Again, remember the wide receiver, the rookie, 6'3", the guy who led the nation in catches, yards, and touchdowns at San Jose State. So, if he gets his chance, maybe that'll be him putting his his name in the hat for guys who need some more reps. So, but again, hopefully Mooney's not seriously injured. He can come back in a day or two or whatnot. But in his absence, first guy on my mind, Kyle Pitts. After that, it's going to have to be a mix of Kadero Hodge, Ray McLeod, and of course Jamal Agnew. And everybody, let's continue to Make sure that we're hitting that like, subscribe button for us, please, if you don't mind. If you have not subscribed, please hit subscribe and give us a follow as well on some of the social media. FanArch is up here in the top left corner, FANARCHCO, and then you can find me at Craig G Sports, CRAIG, the letter G, and the word sports. So appreciate y'all checking us out today and going forward. So we'll have more for you this weekend as well, talking about training camp, and we'll be breaking down some of the things. We'll give you an update on Darnell Mooney as well, and also about Troy Anderson, who went on the PUP list today, physically unable to perform. So as long as he's activated by training camp, he can play this season, but he's going to have to miss the first 4 games. So that's an update right there, and we will see y'all this weekend. Until then, y'all have a great Friday. Sayonara and buenos noches.